sitting here with my brand new 365. This is fully custom. Pretty much the only thing on this that's stock is the barrel, save for some of the internals. But I went to my gunsmith, Arley Arms, and I bought an Icarus lower. So this entire lower frame, it's a very heavy metal lower. Really aggressive. Take a look at that beaver tail. That beaver tail comes way into the hand, really reducing the recoil. It's so nice the way it feels. Everything about the angle fits so nicely and snug into your hand. It feels like it's like glued in there. There are ambidextrous thumb holds. So as you're firing, you can actually press down on the thumb. That's something that's really unique to these Icarus lowers that you don't get to see a lot. Typically, people will put aftermarket parts to help with that thumb, but this is something that in a compact is really a game changer because compacts are notoriously snappy. You buy a 9mm, you shorten it, and then the thing is just rocking. So your groups tend to be a little bit wider. It's harder to control at a high rate of speed. That reduces it quite a bit. I also added the longer slide, the slide for the 365 that has the ports. The barrel stops about here, and then the ports begin. So it's essentially a compensated or ported gun. That helps dramatically. I fired this when it was stock, and I found it to be quite snappy. Not anymore. This thing is really, really great. Has two raised sights, front and rear, from Trigicon, and I'm quite a fan of it. I always have raised sights when I have a red dot. Red dot, not the biggest fan of Holliston products, but this one is one of the few that fits, and I'm starting to like it quite a bit. It's it takes a little bit getting used to because it has the full circle, but you can change it to a dot or to full circle. You Cerakote your gun. It has a tendency to rust less because it's protected. So when you have it against your skin, the moisture of wearing it day in and day out, it does protect it from the rust. But otherwise, it just looks really cool. So it's something you can do. Helps protect the gun a little bit longer than if you have it stock without the Cerakote. Other than that, keeping it mostly stock on the inside. My gunsmith buffs things out. He has removed the safety because in California, California requires to sell guns with a safety on it and to notify you that there's a round in the chamber. I've had the safety removed, so I don't have to deal with that. Because in our last video, you probably saw from me where I was test firing a 365 from concealed for draw times, and one was with a safety, and it actually slows you down a little bit. It takes getting used to. You can do it almost the same time, but it is something that you have to train and get the muscle memory. I just got rid of it completely, and now I don't have to deal with it. Also, put on a TLR 7 light. Sticks out a little bit further than the rest of the gun, but I don't know, it doesn't take up any more footprint than a Glock 19 that I have in my waistband. So some people were asking like, hey, you switched from a Glock to a SIG. Well, that's not entirely true. I shoot both. I've always shot both. I started on SIGs, I moved to Glocks, I went back to SIG. It goes back and forth. If you're going to switch up between Glock and SIG, this is one thing I would recommend, is that you train both of them regularly because the grip angles are slightly off. One grip angle is high, one grip angle is low, and so as you push out, your natural point of aim will be off. At close distances, does it really matter? Close distances, 5 yards, not really. It's going to be the difference between here and maybe here if you're a good shooter. But if you're going to be running it in competitions or super accurate shots, or you actually care about that stuff, I would definitely recommend training both of them because that grip angle can bite you in the ass. Hey, I'm pausing the video right now to let you know about a free giveaway that USCCA has going on right now. Check out the link below for all the details, and let's get back to the video. Working on this 365, some of the things I'm getting used to, besides the grip angle, are actually where to put my hands, because in a traditional, call it a Glock or just a stock gun, I can put my thumb right against that slide somewhere in here, and it really doesn't matter where I place it. But now, changing the muscle memory to adapt my thumb to drop to this thumb rest every single time, that's actually proven challenging. That's something, I've probably put 1,000 rounds through this, but every single time having to drop my thumb down to that hold, that's something that takes getting used to. Also because the grip is smaller, it's just a smaller grip than the Glock, something that I'm used to. My thumb naturally wants to block a lot of this space, so my other hand tends to fall in less comfortably, or my palm will block it. So I'm readapting my grip to have that thumb open a little bit further to get this palm into the place that it needs to be to grip very well. The question is this going to replace my everyday carry? If you've seen any of my videos, you realize that I'm all about muscle memory, reps, and consistency, and carrying a Glock for how many years is my sole everyday carry. Sure, I have tons of other guns that I shoot, but what do I carry? Well, I carry the same stock Glock every single day. Is this going to replace that? The answer is no. The answer is no. I'm not going to replace this as my everyday carry. Where is this going to replace? This is going to replace one of my extra guns. So if you have a gun in a safe in your living room or in another place, or stored away in a garage, or even in a place where, okay, this is going to be a go-to in the event of this situation, that's what this is going to replace. This is not going to replace the everyday carry. I'm a big proponent on your everyday carry has to be an extension of you. Right? No different than your cell phone or your keys. Every time my cell phone's here, my keys are here, my concealed is always in the same place. And it's still going to be the Glock. Not because I care about one product or the other, it's because that's the gun I've chosen for a long time, and I don't really want to change that muscle memory. It takes thousands of reps and thousands of hours to master that muscle memory, and I just don't feel like doing it, even though this thing is sweet, and I love shooting it at the range, and I would have it in my house as protection. It's not going to change what I carry every single day. Is it worthy of being carried by someone else? 100%. If you are a Glock person, stick with Glock. But if you're a SIG guy, do not underestimate this 365, especially with all these add-ons. This is one of the coolest guns I've shot, especially in the compact field. Really, really a big fan. And if you're a SIG guy, go check it out. This is something you really, really want to shoot. If you are neither of those, if you are not a Glock or a SIG person and you're maybe shooting something alternative like M&P, or maybe you're a Canix person, those are great, phenomenal guns. But I always come back to reliability of the brands. SIG, let's take away the 320 from the conversation and all the discrepancies behind that. The 365 is on point, on brand with everything SIG has made in the past, which is just phenomenal. It's got the weight that you're looking for, the reliability you're looking for, and it's backed behind a brand that does remarkable things. Glock, the same. I'm a big proponent of those two brands. If you are shooting a third type, recommend giving it a shot, because it might change the way you fire, it might change the way you train. Something that I always recommend to people are SIGs and Glocks. People ask me all the time, like, what customizations I do to my everyday carry, and my answer is almost unanimously none. I add maybe raised sights and a dot. I add maybe a magazine well. I add maybe stippling to my grip or a flashlight, but I don't mess with the internals. I don't Frankenstein my gun. In this case, this was something different than I'm used to, because I wanted to try this Icarus lower. This is something that I've wanted to try for a long time because I have friends who've bought this and I've used it and I loved it. I don't think about putting a full fabricated lower as changing the gun very much, because I'm not messing with the internals. I'm not messing with the functionality necessarily. I'm getting the flared magazine well out of this. I'm getting the handholds. I'm getting the longer beaver tail, things that I just genuinely love in pistols, without messing with the, well, is this gun going to cycle properly? Is this the slide lock gonna happen every single time? I'm not messing with that stuff. So if you were gonna ask me, hey, would you mess with your gun and customize it? I'd usually say no, but in this case, I'm using mostly factory parts, especially on the internals. The slide is factory, the barrel's factory. The only thing different is that lower piece, and that's from a brand that I've grown to actually trust. Check it out, Icarus. They are making some really good products. But whether or not you get one of these and it's fully custom and awesome, or it's completely raw and stock, remember that none of the equipment you carry is what matters. What matters is that you go out and train, because training is how we move forward and how we progress.